Right now, I am on. Right, we want to make sure we show more books, less embarrassing cards. They're not embarrassing. Look at all them. Look at lovely Christmas and birthday. I just keep them up there because it makes me feel like I'm at home. Anyway, you're all very welcome today. We're going to be talking about. Creating content. And what I want to do in this video is help you understand different ways that you can create content as a thought leader. Of course, this day today is a very important day in the sense that I am, well, it's not a very important, it's a very important week in general. And I've been going live quite a lot on Facebook a couple of times this week, 3 times actually. Once in the Rising from Adversity channel, you can watch that back on the group. Once on a couple of times on Facebook Live on Alan Fitzpatrick International, and then a couple of times on Instagram. I've also done 2 free masterclasses for replays of that available till Monday evening. owenfitzpatrick.com/speak and owenfitzpatrick.com/coach. If you're a coach, then helps you to build a coaching business. Full 1-hour masterclass replay there for you to register for, and then same, and it's all free. And the same is Speak. So for speaking, for speakers, for trainers, building a speaking and training business, that's available at owenfitzpatrick.com/speak. So a lot of free stuff this week. Why, you might ask? Well, it's because very simply, it is, bear with me one second, it is launch week. And as such, in launch week, I go and offer as much value as possible, because when I celebrate the fact that we've opened the doors to my Thought Leaders mentorship, which has been something I've been doing for the last couple of years or so, and I'm really excited about it. It's something which I've made the best deal ever that I've ever had to do, something which I'm very happy to say tends to be very much loved by the members that are there. We have a very high retention rate of members month to month, I think largely because of the amount of value that you get in it. But I'm not going to talk about that now. I'll mention it at the end. Instead, what I want to talk about is, if you're a thought leader, if you're an expert, if you're a coach, if you're a trainer, if you're a speaker, and if you're looking to be able to build solid content, then I want to share with you some good ideas on how you can do just that. So right behind me, you see lots of different types of books here. They're all content. They're all pieces of content where authors have sat down and painstakingly worked on creating something that can make a positive difference. And so what I first of all start to talk to you about is the first core element of content creation is to decide what problem are you solving at the highest level. This is what we call a core problem. And so if you're a stress management expert, then the problem you're solving is you're helping people to manage stress. You're helping people to stop being so stressed, or to do something with their stress, to change the way they feel about their lives so that there's less stress, or they're managing it better. If you're a communications expert, then your problem that you're solving is people aren't communicating well enough. They're not communicating maybe with impact or influence or clarity, and your job is to solve that problem, to help them communicate more clearly, with more influence, with more impact. So these are the core problems that we solve depending on what our area of expertise is. But the next thing you want to be able to look at is what we call the peripheral problems, or the secondary problems. So you've got the core problem, which is what you pretty much solve, and then the secondary problem, right? And the secondary problem is all the little small things that are an offshoot of that. So let's say, for example, the book Influence behind me, the classic with Dr. Robert Cialdini, the legend himself. What problem does he solve? What's his core problem? What his core problem is, people aren't good at influencing, or people are not influencing people successfully. And so what he offers you is the book, the idea, which is 7 core principles of influence. Now, if we look for peripheral problems, this could be, so what situations would you find yourself needing to influence better? So if you're a parent, or if you're a leader, or if you're a salesperson, or if you're in marketing, or if you're web design, or if you're in any area of business really, you have your own specific challenges which requires influence as a fix, influence as an option. So the secondary problems would be all those peripheral problems that come about as a result of you not having some of these skills. Other peripheral problems might be inside of each of the elements of his framework. So he has 7 principles, right? Reciprocity, consistency, liking, authority, scarcity, social proof, and unity. So let's say, for example, social proof. So social proof was one of his areas. That could be a secondary piece of content. He could create a book, because there's been books out there on social proof alone, where he walks you through how to be able to use social proof to elevate your authority and to elevate your credibility in the mind of other people. So you have the peripheral areas, the peripheral elements, the peripheral topics that you're working to help people to deal with effectively as well. So let's look at what we have. We have on the one hand, we have the core problem, right? That you mainly solve. It's your value proposition, and then you have the secondary problem, which is the problem that you solve. All the different secondary problems, which are all the different types of problems you can solve for people, with the secondary problem as well as the different aspects or different elements of it. And so, what you're looking to be able to do is to find ways of creating content for most of those periphery problems. In other words, if you want to be able to build your brand on social media, or build a blog, or build a podcast, or build a YouTube channel, then what you want the videos or podcasts or blog posts to be about, what you want the posts on social media about, the reels, the stories, what you want them to be about is about those secondary problems. So again, if you're Cialdini, you might have a number of different examples of social proof in action. You could have quotes about social proof or statistics where social proof was used. Or you could be talking about how to use some of the principles to be able to get a job, or how to use the principles to get someone to say yes to going out on a date with you. There's different ways to approach it. You can approach it from an actual subject point of view or an area point of view, right? Or problem point of view, also known. The subject point of view is, like I said, the different elements, the different 7 elements of Cialdini's model. Or you could do it on a problem point of view, as in, how does Cialdini's model help you to solve a problem? They're the the two essential peripheral types of problems that you have out there. So just to keep everyone clear, just because I want to make this very, very simple. The core content is whatever problem you solve. The secondary or peripheral content can be one of 2 types. One is, it can be subject-based, which is, if you're got a book on NLP, then it'd be elements of NLP, aspects of NLP, anchoring, submodalities, rapport. The other one is problem-based, right? And that would be whatever problem you can solve with that. For example, helping people to be confident public speaking using NLP, helping people to sell better using NLP, helping people to teach better using NLP. So either one of those is an option for you in terms of secondary content. So once you decide, and you can do both as well, but once you decide if you're going down the topic route, as in the different areas or elements of your topic, so if it's emotional intelligence, are you going to do self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management, and have those as topics? Or are you going to show how emotional intelligence can be used for leaders? How can it be used for managers? How can it be used for people in marketing? How can it be used for people in HR? So you decide what kinds, and you can do both, as I've said. Now we get to the third rung down. So on the one level, you've got the core content, which you can create. Then you've got the secondary content, which will usually populate your social media channels, your YouTube, your podcast, your blog. That would usually be populated with the secondary forms of content. The next question is, okay, so great, I know what topics or what areas I'm going to focus on for secondary content, but how do I know, how do I do that? And so there's lots of choices you have. One choice you have is to give them tips, right? You give them tips, and a tip is, let's say, for example, you're talking about sleep, the psychology of sleep, and that's the periphery topic, is helping people to be able to, let's say, deal with jet lag. You can offer them in a blog post, you can offer them a set of tips. Here's 6 things you can do to help you to conquer jet lag. Here's 5 ways to be able to change time zones effortlessly, right? So you can create a blog or a video or podcast, which is just lots of tips, right? Which you can research and then divulge to people. So that's one approach. A second approach, instead of tips, or as well as tips, is that you could focus on, let's say, a strategy, right? And a strategy would be more a sequence of steps that you engage in order for you to be able to get a result. So let's take the same example. If you're talking about jet lag, then you would say, okay, so what are the 6 steps towards handling jet lag? So instead of them being like tips, try this, try this, try this, the strategy is a sequence of things that you do in order for you to conquer jet lag. So in order for you to change time zones and make it so that you don't have any problem waking up in the morning and you feel good all day, what are the 6 things or 7 things or 5 things that you need to do in order to do that? That's the second type of content style that you could have. So one type is tips, another type would be strategies. A third one would be insight. This would be when you're sharing some sort of insight that changed the way you think about the topic. So again, let's take jet lag. In that case, you might talk about, there's been a lot of struggles with regards to jet lag in a lot of different ways or approaches, but then the research showed that actually they came up with a fascinating insight from a piece of research which showed that the single most important thing you can do to handle jet lag is actually the amount of light that you get when you arrive in the place. So you're talking about one idea, one insight that is positioned by you in that piece of content as being the most important thing, the critical thing, the thing that makes most of the difference. So again, you're providing them with one insight that makes a difference. So the first one is lots of different tips, which any of them can be used. The second is a strategy, which is a step-by-step. The third is an insight, which is this one core idea that was discovered through science or whatnot. Another type of content, a fourth type of content, is how it works, the process. So you basically explain, here's how jet lag works, and here's what to do about that. So you walk people through the signs of what is going on in the brain and the body whenever you get jet lag. And again, that's interesting for people. But once again, it's a different type of content. So now you take a topic such as jet lag, which might be a peripheral, like let's say you're a sleep expert, this is a peripheral secondary topic for you. But now all of a sudden you've got 4 different types of pieces of content that you could release once a week. You could do, let's say, a podcast episode on strategy, the 6 steps towards getting a good night's sleep when you're in a different time zone. You could do another podcast on 15 tips to be able to help you handle jet lag effectively. You could do, here's the most important insight you need to know about jet lag. Or you could do, here's how jet lag works and what you need to know. 4 different types of content you could create from that. Now, a fifth type of content that you could create is to do with stories. Being able to share a story of your own battle with jet lag, for instance, how you struggle with it, what you did, or a story of someone you know, or a story of a client you work with. Sharing stories allows you to engage people more easily, brings them on board, and also helps them make sense of what you're talking about a lot more easily. So they start to understand it more. So a story is also a really effective way of communicating clearly to your audience exactly what they can do. So again, let's recap so far what we got. We have, first and foremost, if you want to be able to effectively present the secondary topic that we talked about, you got tips, right? These are a bunch of different ideas that they can use. Second is a strategy, a step-by-step thing that they could do one by one to help them to get the result. That's 2 different types of pieces of content on the same topic. Third is insight. What is the big insight that's come from research, that they've discovered from research? That could be a third piece of content that you create. The fourth would be how it works. How does jet lag work, and what does that mean, and what can you do about it as a result? That's a fourth type of content. So tips, strategies, insight, and how it works. The fifth type, as I said, is stories. So you share a story, a personal anecdote about how you conquered jet lag or you handled it yourself. And then finally, the last piece is you could start off with something that's counterintuitive. What's a myth that you can bust or break? Something that most people believe, but you know is not true from the science. And then you can start with that and explain that, because whenever you surprise somebody in a piece of content, they're much more likely to tune into future pieces of content. So is there something that's counterintuitive that they'll think, really? That's really true? If you can do that, you're off to the races. So once again, in terms of the, let's say, different elements or the 6 different ways to be able to create content, let me just break down everything on this video real simple, real quick. First of all, you have your core content. That's the problem that you solve for people. Second of all, you have your peripheral or secondary content, which is either A, areas of that topic. So if it's influence, it could be any of the 7 principles of influence, or it could be, different elements of the theory. Or B, how you can use that core topic to be able to solve different problems in different areas of life, right? So how do you use the influence in sales and leadership and marketing and relationships, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the first thing. And once you know what secondary topic you're going to lean into or focus on, then you've got 6 different styles of content you can create. And again, you've got more than these, but I'm giving you 6 really good ones. The first is you could do tips. the 10 tips, the 5 tips, the 6 tips, the 7 tips to being able to do this. The example I gave was jet lag. 7 tips to conquer jet lag. That could be one piece of content. Then the strategy. This is a sequence, a step-by-step process for doing something. So these 6 steps to conquering jet lag. The difference with that and tips is tips could be random things. You don't have to do all of them. But the strategy would be a step-by-step thing. Thanks very much, Roisin. Really appreciate the kind words. So that's the second part. So you got tips, then you got strategy. The third thing would be insight. This is one insight you got from research or some discovery that was made about jet lag that is a really important insight that makes people go, oh wow, light is the most important thing here. So it's a powerful insight that they get. And you could have an entire blog post or video or podcast all about this one insight. As well as doing that, you could also share a story, right? You could share a story about how you struggle with it, how you struggle with jet lag and what you did to overcome it. That's another type of content that you could create on any channel, right? Then there's how it works. How does jet lag works? And explaining how it works is a problem, and explaining why the solution you're proposing is the solution, right? That's a fifth type of content, right? And then the last type of content is a counterintuitive one. This means surprising them, shocking them, busting a myth, right? Making them so that they realize what they thought was true wasn't actually true. That's a 6th piece of content. So there you have it. You have a core content, secondary content, and 6 different styles of that. With that in mind, today, there's no reason in the world why you can't, as soon as you switch off this video, you can write down your core topic, write down an example of one of your secondary topics, and then figure out what is 6 different ways you can generate content. That would be 6 different types of content you could generate on that one subject, on that one secondary topic. There you have it. If you're interested in becoming a thought leader who earns more and makes a solid business out of being a coach, a trainer, a speaker, if you want to scale your business and improve it, or you just want to start the process, check out owenfitzpatrick.com/TLM. That's owenfitzpatrick.com/TLM for more information. The mentorship is open till Monday evening, and then we'll be closing the doors for a while. So do make sure you get in. It's more than 80 hours of content in there. And again, if you're a speaker, let's say, you get the average rate for a speaker for 2 sessions every single month, plus access to about 80 plus hours of content. You can get that for less than how much an average speech would cost for you to do. So it really is a no-brainer if you're looking to grow your business, but it's only for people who are looking to be able to build and grow a successful coaching or speaking or training business. Anyway, owenfitzpatrick.com/TLM. Regardless, I hope you found this useful on creating content 101. And I look forward to hopefully seeing some of your comments that are positive. Be nice and be well from now on. Take care. And as always, may the force continue to be with you. Bye for now.